Compliance forms, another integral part of contracts and supplier management within the framework of contract management as a whole, could actually be regarded as being a function of your due diligence activities. In compliance, you're testing a potential supplier or the supplier in association with the contract for what they're going to supply to you. You're testing them for adherence or compliance against the requirements of your business. You may have a strong set of requirements as it relates to product availability, shelf life. You may have a load of requirements around logistics and a load of requirements around finance and legal, as well as others like environmental protection, governance under law, all that sort of stuff. So you may have an extensive armory of questions that you wish to provide the ability of this new supplier to answer when regarded against a contract. So the compliance itself could actually just be one step in an overall due diligence, or you can treat compliance as a standalone thing. It's up to you how you use these two applications together. They are intrinsic building blocks of managing a supplier and then managing the contracts associated with that supplier. In a basic sense though, the compliance forms are simply pre-scheduled or pre-recorded questions that you have detailed and documented, or your administrators have done so down here in admin, and it allows your supply chain management process or your due diligence phase and the team there to use these forms to ask the questions of relevant delegates in the target supplier such that you can get sign-off of compliance before proceeding, or it could be a gate before you sign a contract, etc., etc. So having a quick look at that is down in administration, contracts admin, compliance matrix questions. Here for the purposes of demo, I've completed a basic form with 5 sections, each with multiple questions of varying types of, are they required or not? Some may be dates, some may be free text. What I've tried to do here is encapsulate a broad indicative range of the typical sorts of questions that you might ask a new potential supplier. Writing these down and pre-recording them in this sort of form template format is a logical thing to do. It makes sure that you're asking all of your suppliers the same questions about their business, how they conduct their business, and how their business relates to the instruments required of them legally, or from a governmental perspective, from an ethics perspective, from a human resources, all sorts of perspectives here. So this can be as long and as detailed as you like, or as short as you need to satisfy your own compliance needs. So popping back up to contracts, we go into our compliance forms. We've got a couple committed already, but I'll just start a new one so you can see what the process would look like. These are either active, because they're compliance forms that are being or have been completed for active contracts and suppliers, or they are archived. So to edit one, you hit the pencil, or you can archive it by hitting the drop down and saying archive this one. That means it's complete. So we're going to add a new one, and it starts with the main info section is always the same. So this is the basic gross information that captures the information about this compliance activity, and you can set its overall importance level, or its relevance, or its factoring to your business. Until you know different, I always recommend you start with middle importance. As you learn things through the compliance phase, you may reduce the importance level of this or increase it. Then that helps you draw your eye back here on the main compliance forms to which ones need attention and which ones don't. So the main cover sheet is always in the same format, and then the rest of the sections are the sections that you and your administrators have created. So you could go and meet with this supplier and work your way through these questions and capture the answers to them, and under each question you can determine whether or not the answer they've provided is a risk to compliance or not. If it is, then you determine the level. what you will end up doing at the end of this is creating a blended importance risk level as it relates to compliance as a whole across all sections that you've gone through with the client. So we got multiple sections, and you can work your way through these. I've just done 5 sections with a basic range of questions. The aim of this is to come out of having asked and answered all of the questions that relate to your compliance needs, and you come out of it with an eventual grading that lets you know whether or not further activities may be required to secure compliance, and handily gives you a quick view of the risks that have been assigned, or the compliance risks you've assigned as being high, so that you can draw those into your due diligence activities. So that's a very quick overview here to basic compliance. This is not risk management in its own sense. This is the risks associated with seeking a compliance rubber stamp against a contract and supplier that you wish to propagate to your company. We do have a separate interactive risk management platform. It does similar things, but obviously the scope of that is across the broad range of projects. This is limited to compliance-based risk as it relates to suppliers and contracts that you have